12 series as the UCF Knights back home hosting the number 12 on ESPN+. Orange helmets, first pitch is taken for a ball, 1-0 the count, and we're underway. Vega. The 1-0 gets the strike. Of course, the last time Isabella Vega pitched was last Thursday in Provo when UCF run-ruled BYU 9-1. The Knights would go on to win that series, 2 out of 3 up in Provo. Big series win for them. That's got them 28 in the RPI on Monday, 29 as of today as a result of that win. Oklahoma State coming off a run rule victory over Wichita State on Tuesday night, and where Kenny Gajewski told us was really the best they've swung in weeks. Really like their approach at the plate. Think they may have turned the corner after kind of being in a bit of a slump.
We hear that a lot from these schools that reach high levels of success. You know, the expectation becomes that much greater. So Coach Gajewski has done a great job just being dominant across the country. And so I think it's fair for him to go out there and expect his team to compete at their fullest potential.
Talon Edwards starts with a walk here to start the ball game. That'll bring up Rosie Davis, the sophomore, hitting .365 with 7 homers, 43 RBIs for Rosie Davis. It's all Big 12 all freshman performer a year ago. Vega takes a strike, or delivers a strike, as you say, to Davis, 0-1 the count. Yeah, it was interesting to hear Coach Gajewski talking to us about, he took some of the blame too. They had a meeting on Sunday with his coaching staff, and they addressed kind of internally what they were doing. 0-1, felt the players were maybe pressing, and he asked his staff, what are we doing right? What do we get better at? And how are we as a staff? Are we putting too much pressure on the players? Are we tight?
And I love the ability like that to just kind of self-reflect. So much of our leadership starts with us, right? And what kind of culture am I trying to curate here for my team, my players, to go out there, have fun, enjoy themselves, but also compete?
Vega ahead of ball and 2 strikes on Rosie Davis. That's high, 2-2 the count. Of course, the Knights back home after a lengthy road trip. Haven't seen UCF here play a game since they knocked off Florida in a game you and I did a few weeks back on a Wednesday night. They went to Waco, played a series at Baylor. It's the 2-2. Is blooped into left. This could be trouble, and it will. It drops in front of Ray, who quickly throws to second, but Edwards is there in time, and it's 2 on, nobody out for the Cowgirls here in the top of the first.
Good swing by Rosie Davis, but also great base running by Talon Edwards. Gets off just enough, trying to read that ball all the way through. Samantha Ray comes up trying to get the force out, but not in time. Good stuff all around.
Amanda Hasler now at the plate, the junior, hitting .307 on the year. Swings at the first pitch, hits a pop-up to center. Maddie Simon is under it, makes the catch, and Hasler is retired for the first out of the ball game here in the first. So let's take a look at this Knights defense. Makes a big plays in Provo, with Simon being a part of that at center, with Ray at left and Kotzelnick at right. Humphreys at third with Aubrey Evans at short. Coco Jaime is at second. Ashley Griffin at first. And Beth Damon catching. And as Coach Cindy Ball-Malone reminded us, Alex, there are no players starting this year that's starting in the same role that they had last year. Even the returners, for example, Aubrey Evans last year started at second base. Sierra Humphreys, when she did play, was more of a DP. It's kind of remarkable.
Super remarkable, and I think the biggest takeaway from that for Coach Ball-Malone specifically is, hey, I got to remember to extend some grace. Just knowing that, hey, we have all these high expectations, we know their potential, we as the coaches can see it every single day, but also just got to keep it in perspective, as this is still a very young squad when it comes to the experience at these positions. Now, they've all played the game for a really long time, but just got to keep rolling with it. You got to be able to take some punches.
1-1, that's popped up foul right on top of us here in the press box. Yeah, it was interesting listening to both head coaches. Very similar, right? They feel like, hey, yeah, we've challenged ourselves with a tough schedule. challenging, but we feel we're better than what we've shown. We still, both sides feel that their best softball is ahead of them. Some of it is patience, though. Both of these teams are very young, especially UCF, who graduated 11 players last year. The 1-2 is missed high 2-2, and that stat about no position players returning was kind of proving that. I mean, Ashley Griffin, for example, was a catcher last year.
You already mentioned the coaches and everything they say, Eric, and I just feel like the word that comes to mind about both of them is real. They're real and they're honest, and I really appreciate that.
2-2. Off-speed missed, ball 3. Chad Steers is the home plate umpire for this game, with Brady Sanderson at first and Shane Jackson is at third base. 2 on, 1 out here in the first. Payoff pitch from Vega. It's hit foul. Do it again, 3-2. First, the Knights winning 2 out of 3 at BYU. As I mentioned, that road trip, played at Baylor. It was a tight series. Then went to Oklahoma, beat St. Thomas, lost to the Sooners, and then went to Provo last weekend where they won up 2 out of 3. Back home, first home game in a while, though. Interesting to see how teams always come out after a lengthy road trip. As the payoff pitch is popped up. Aubrey Evans chasing it down the left field line by the foul area, making the catch. As the junior from Apopka, Evans makes the catch. And Godwin, who was first-team All-Big 12 performer a year ago, is retired for the second out of the inning. So 2 outs. That'll bring up Lexi McDonald to the plate, the junior hitting .269, making her 6th start. And Coach Gajewski told her recently, hey, you're going to get some at-bats here. Don't worry about watching back. We're going to give you an opportunity. So she's in the lineup. The junior from Oklahoma delivered, takes a strike from Isabella Vega, and it's 0-1 the count. You see McDonald's numbers on the season, hitting with 2 on, 2 out here in the first. The 0-1. That's a strike, and Vega ahead quickly 0-2.
And if you're Coach Gajewski and staff right now, I feel like, you know, we talk about those competitive pieces and the realness of the coaches' calls this week, and you look at the situation right now that Oklahoma State got themselves in. First 2 hitters on base, and then the couple of batters, the middle part of your order not able to come up or even hit balls hard. And so you look at the approach and the process, and that's where you want to be a little bit tighter. It's not necessarily the outcome that you become concerned with, but how dialed in are we?
0-2. That's up high, ball 1. 1-2 the count. Vega, I mentioned, her last home start was that Wednesday night against Florida where she shut out the Gators. That would end up earning her the National D1 Softball Freshman of the Week, back announced on April 1st. First freshman in UCF softball history to win a national award was Isabella Vega. That is saying something, considering all the great players they've had here and now in their 24th season of this program. Of course, this is the 50th season of Oklahoma State softball. Great tradition themselves. 2-2. Swing and just tipped and hung in there enough there to stay alive was McDonald, as Damon couldn't hold it, and the count remains 2-2.
Isabella Vega doing a good job here, trying to mix this changeup in, just switch the looks here. The velocity out of the hand, much different. It's a great pitch. She's thrown it a couple times now this inning, and I expect to see her go to it a few more times.
2-2, and again it's fouled off.
I love it. Down and change, then gonna go up and hard, Eric. It's a tough combination to try to stay back on. And especially when you have good command of both pitches, it can be a really lethal combo.
Talon Edwards at second, led off the inning with a walk. Davis at first with a single. The 2-2 is missed outside, and it's full, 3-2. Good patience so far from this Cowgirl lineup. Good at bat here from McDonald. Payoff pitch. Foul back. There's Oklahoma State. 6-7 this year when Mertez early in the year was hot, and then Damon was kind of off to a slow start. Recently, it's been Damon that's been hot. whereas Mertez has been scuffling it. She feels that, boy, if they'll get those two to click at the same time, that really takes this offense to a different level.
Yeah, we call that firing on all cylinders, too, just getting everybody hot at the right time, especially nearing the last couple of weeks of season would be ideal.
Of course, those are the two freshmen, part of that top 25 freshman class that Coach Paul Malone has brought. 3 straight top 25 signing classes that Coach Paul Malone has brought into UCF. Mertez a part of that, along with Beth Damon, who's on deck. 2-2. Mertez fouls it off. Well, that's part of life as a freshman, right? Ups and downs.
Well, absolutely. You got to ride them, and that's part of the roller coaster, the marathon that is the season. But Eric, think back across all sports. Any of the best teams that you know that have won championships, I think one of the common denominators are your best players are playing their best at the right times. Depth is crucial, but your best players have got to go out there and compete and just do what they do.
Count is 3-2 now to Mertez here in the bottom of the second. Of course, this Knights offense, to put it in perspective on the youth, 86 out of the 145 runs batted in are by freshmen or sophomores for this roster. There's a ground ball, fielded clean, and a throw to first in time. As the play is made by Talon Edwards, the third baseman, to retire Mertez for the first out here in the second. That'll bring up Beth Damon. She's been on a tear. 283, 7 home runs, 27 RBIs for the freshman out of Edmond, Oklahoma. The 7 home runs is the third most by any UCF freshman in program history. Only Stephanie Best in her freshman year in 2002 and Janae Shinhoster, her teammate in 2002, have hit more home runs as a freshman. Best hit 11, Shinhoster hit 12. That's good company to join there.
Absolutely.
1-0. It's a strike, and it's 1-1 to count.
And that's the drop ball that's left a little bit more up in the zone. Still a tough pitch to hit, but that's what UCF hitters need to be trying to hunt right now. Not the one that's starting below the knees, going to finish at the feet. The one that's left right there mid-thigh.
Swings to that one upstairs. Count is 1-2. Of course, she hit 2 of those home runs in the win against St. Thomas in Norman at Love's Fielding in there, which was cool, being not too far away from where she grew up. Damon takes high, and of course, in a few weeks, she'll get to play at Devon Park in Oklahoma City, the site of the Big 12 Championships, where she was at one time a Batgirl for the Baylor pro team in 2017 at the World Series.
Oh my God, that makes me feel old.
2-2 count. Just missed outside, 3-2. So it wasn't the 0-2 part that got you. It was the Batgirl part.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right, very good.
Definitely the last part. Take another look at this pitch. This is a good spot here by Malin. Painted just a little off the plate. Doesn't miss location-wise, or height-wise, I should say, but definitely just a little bit off.
Malin not off there. Gets the strikeout of Damon. Got her looking for the second out here in the second inning.
That's what good pitchers do, is they just change the look a little bit. Malin coming back over the plate, even just a matter of less than inches, and gets that one for the called third strike. Another big pitch. I love Ruby Malin just finding the zone here and seeing what she can expand and then able to bring it back in too with the control that she has.
First pitch inside, 1-0 the count to Stormy Kopselnick, the senior, hitting .272. Had a big weekend up in Provo. Snapped out of a long slump there and really clicked. Takes a strike there from Malin, and the count is 1-1. She's another one. It seems like when Kopselnick is hitting, so is the Knights offense. It's kind of contagious. 1-1. It's there, 2-1. Kopselnick drove 4 runs in that series against BYU. Trying to get something going against Malin here. 2-1 the count, 2 outs here in the second. Top of the third, you see right there, Isa Vega. Long first inning, 34 innings, much more efficient in the second.
Well, and that's what we need to keep her rolling here and just trying to attack the zone early in the count and get ahead as well. Will help her confidence in the circle, her comfortability. And then her ability, too, to just kind of try to expand the zone as she does get ahead in these counts.
Facing the top of the order for the Cowgirls, Talon Edwards, who walked in the first inning, takes there for a ball, 1-1 the count. Edwards will be followed by Davis and Hasler. Here in the third inning for the junior from Moore, Oklahoma, Edwards. 1-1. Lined into left, that will drop for a hit. So Talon Edwards gets on for the second time here tonight, this time via the single to lead off the third.
Talon Edwards really good in that leadoff spot. Her ability to get on base in a lot of different ways is why she's so versatile up in the order. Good job keeping her hands inside that ball, just going with it. But let's see what the next couple of batters can do, because this is how we saw the first inning, Eric, lead off with Edwards and Davis both getting on, but nobody able to do anything behind them.
Rosie Davis with a bunt. Griffin will field throw to first in time with Jaimez covering there at first base. That's a sacrifice bunt by Rosie Davis to advance Talon Edwards to second with 1 out.
Good execution here by Rosie Davis, just getting the job done. Situational hitting at its finest right there. A little get them on, get them over. Now let's see what Amanda Hasler and company can do with some ducks on a pond.
Hasler flew out to center on the first pitch back in the first inning that she saw. Takes that one high for a ball. Ducks on a pond, that is the old cliche there.
I know, I should have just said it with a runner in scoring position, but you know, we like to keep it interesting up here in the booth. And only, it's one duck on the pond.
I was gonna say.
A job is a job.
1-0. It's a strike. 1-1 the count. To Hasler.
This is the pitch. This is going to be the money pitch here for Vega. Again, just flipping that changeup. Deathly slow, too, just out of the hand. Nice little drop on it as well as it's coming in. There's more of like that hump to it instead of a floater that's going to stay flat through the zone. Vega's is going to kind of look more like a drop ball, so it's going to tunnel like that, which makes the velocity harder to pick up as she releases it.
She's down in the count here, 2-1. Oh, that hits Hasler, and a hit by pitch. And it's 2 on, 1 out here in the third. Again, Vega just a little off so far. A couple of walks, now a hit by pitch in this game. And that'll bring up Carly Godwin to the plate.
The free passes are going to be huge and trying to limit them as much as possible. As you see, I like this. Sierra Humphreys having a little conversation right now, just trying to bring Vega back into it. The ability to look each other in the eyes and just kind of go get. Say, hey, I got your back. Let him hit it to me. Get the force play. Just talking the game, trying to simplify the moment, make it feel a little less big than it is.
So here's Godwin. Steps in, the sophomore from North Carolina. First Big 12 first teamer a year ago. Fouls that off to third base. She finished as a top 10 National Freshman of the Year finalist in the NFCA. Had arguably the greatest freshman season any Oklahoma State hitter has had in the Gajewski era, and with that came a lot of high expectations. And while those numbers are good, people are like, whoa, what's going on? Nothing's really wrong. It's just the expectations are so high for her. Still putting up good numbers, but hasn't had the power yet that she had early last year. Doesn't mean she doesn't have it, though. She's been coming on lately. In fact, hit a home run in that Wichita State game. She's got a 1-1 count here. Takes the strike, it's 1-2.
We've talked about it a lot, Eric, is the ability to replicate success is so hard. The best players look for consistency, and they find it eventually throughout their careers, but that transition from year 1 to year 2, once everybody knows who you are, is sometimes a steep ladder, a steep hill to climb.
Game of adjustments. They got the book on you now.
It's one thing to be good your freshman year, and it's pretty phenomenal when kids can come out there and do it, but then to be good after that, your sophomore, junior year, whatever it is, that's really saying a lot, because again, that's talking adjustments, that's talking the game within the game.
She lines that one into left, foul, just foul. Got a good swing at that one, did Godwin. Who her favorite athlete growing up, Jenny Finch. Went to a couple of the Jenny Finch camps, got to meet her. When I talked to her about that before the season, that was a big thrill for her.
Everybody loved Jenny Finch. She was hard not to love. Let's say that. She was hard not to love.
I would say about 3/4 of the players I've had on the In the Circle podcast, when I've asked them who their favorite player was growing up, Jenny Finch's name comes up.
A classic.
1-2. That's foul. Did you ever meet her?
I have met Jenny, yes.
Wow. See, I've never had.
Well, when I was little, I get to pull that. When I was a little card, like everybody does on me, but I got to go and watch the 2008 Olympic team play when they were out in like Altamont Springs area. Talk about throwback.
Played UCF there.
Oh, did they? Okay, yeah.
A 1-0 game.
Nice. Okay, I don't even remember that part. I just remember meeting everybody after.
Pitches out high. Throw by Damon. Nice catch by Jaimes at second. As they were trying to see if Edwards was going anywhere. The count is 2-2 to Godwin.
And I like this, just challenging base runners to see what they can get. Beth Damon behind the dish. Really heads up stuff. Again, let's just see what we can do out there. I like it, kind of pushing the limits.
And Godwin fouls it off again. Yeah, you mentioned that. Yeah, USA played UCF in that tournament. Allison Kime, UCF Athletic Hall of Famer, pitched in that game. And it was a 1-0 game. Jessica Mendoza with an RBI single. I was not there. I was not invited. I was not as tight with the softball program as I am now.
You could have gone as a fan like the rest of us.
I wasn't.
You don't have to get personally invited to everything, you know, just to go and be a fan.
My IQ level at that time, not that high. Just gonna.
I was in 8th grade. I definitely wasn't invited.
Godwin hits a fly ball to center, but playable. Simon makes the catch. And, ooh, dangerous throw. It gets away from Jaimes, but a good backup there by Griffin. As the runners hold first and second. Here with 2 outs here in the 3rd inning. But yeah, that was the closest that 08 team was from a defeat. They had that long win streak, and then a month later, Angela Tincher beat them when Virginia Tech beat the U.S. national team that year. So you're telling me you and I could have in theory met if I gone to Altamont Springs way back then?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely we could have.
Granted,
I had braces and stuff. I have pictures with Kelly Kretschmann, Monica Abbott. I think I might have one with Kat.
I need a photo. I need that photo. You need to send me that photo. I could send it. We got that's unbelievable. 1-0 the count. So Lexi McDonald here hitting with 2 on, 2 out here in the 3rd. That's a ball. 2-0 the count. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if we see something of similar to that come 2028 when the U.S. Olympic team they make the tour. Do we see them play some of the college teams? We saw that in the last Olympics.
I would hope so. I feel like it's a great opportunity to get the Olympic team in front of so many fans.
The 2-0. That's a strike. It's 2-1. In fact, the last U.S. Olympic team was scheduled to play here against UCF in the 2021 season. I was scheduled to call that game. Mother Nature had other ideas, so I did not. That was a bummer. That is hit foul. And the count is 2-2. Oh, and Alex, of course, this is not it's showing me the photo. You actually have the photo on your phone.
I do. It's a photo, of course. Typical millennial fashion. You know, we don't take regular photos anymore, but I did back then. So I've got a picture of the picture.
I had a camcorder back then, too.
Oh, I love that for you.
So 2. Low ball 3. 3-2 now the count to Lexi McDonald, who's worked the count. She walked back in the 1st inning in a similar situation. And again, they're making Vega work. Payoff pitch. McDonald hits it to left. Ray makes the catch, side retired as Vega works around.
Spirit is unconquered through and through.
Certainly our thoughts there on a tragedy there today in Tallahassee. All the sporting events canceled there for the rest of the weekend for obvious reasons. As we play on here in Orlando, Ashley Griffin will lead it off here for the Knights. Simon and Jaimes, bottom of the order. It's Ruby Malin here at the bottom of the 3rd. No runs, 2 hits, no errors. For Oklahoma State, no runs, no hits, no errors. For UCF, still looking for their 1st hit. against Malin as he swings and misses, does Griffin, and Malin been locked in here early on.
Ruby Malin just attacking the zone, but not even just their first hit, their first base runner on the night, Eric. It's been a quiet offense so far for the UCF, just through the first couple innings. I haven't seen a whole lot of balls hit hard in general through the night. I think Stormy Kotelnick's in the last inning was the hardest hit ball on both sides of the field that we've seen yet. And that one even carried way more than I anticipated in the moment.
A ball and 2 strikes to Griffin. Strike 3 looking, frozen. 4th strikeout of the ball game for Malin. 1 gone here in the 3rd.
Ruby Malin does a great job painting this pitch on the inside corner right there. You see the little step back too by Ashley Griffin, just does not expect that pitch. Great location, great control. That's a tough one.
Madison Simon to the plate. Transfer from Oregon State, so these two now are familiar with each other. Simon and Malin played against each other in the Pac-12 when Oregon State and Washington played. Simon part of that World Series team for Oregon State in 2022. Grounds that one to short. As Bloodworth throws to first. Nice scoop there by Godwin. As Simon is retired for the 2nd out of the inning.
Maddie Simon just gonna get the top of this ball. Slow roller there to the shortstop. Bloodworth, who fires over to first base. That's a great catch by Godwin. And they are gonna ask if the foot came off the bag. Coach Bob Malone went running across the field.
Oh, they changed it.
Does get the call overturned. Not even going to replay, Eric.
Well,
I think it is now.
Yeah, Kenny's like, wait a minute.
Absolutely. I feel like they have to take it to replay just to overturn it.
Was the foot off the bag? There is replay, by the way, all weekend, as there is always at every Big 12 game. And the crew will take a look. This will be an Oklahoma State challenge, though. That's the significance of that call changing. Because I think Sydney would have challenged it if they would have stayed with the call, but they overturned it. So it's Kenny that has to ask for the challenge, or for the review.
I think that's the right call on both sides. I definitely think Coach Bob Malone is spot on for just asking the question, because she's got a great angle where she is. But then the throw, you could see it just kind of tailing away, taking Godwin off the bag a little bit. At least it looked like from up here. Now, Eric, did you know, or do you know, if the rule with who goes and does the review for calls that are questioned, is it the umpire that's not involved in the call, or is it the umpires that are closest to the review camera?
What's the crew chief?
Well, okay, but you got 2.
So you got 2 of
Two
them.
people over there.
Yeah.
So who's the other one?
I think it depends on who's near the play there.
Isn't that interesting?
There's a quick review, it looks like. There's Chad Steers right there. Here's a look. Was her foot off? Oh, I think what do you think, foot off the bag?
From that angle, it looks like, because it looks like she tries to make the attempt to bring it back.
I agree. That motion may be the difference. Here it is. Here's the review by Chad Steers. Safe. So Simon is safe. On that sequence, to answer your question, it was Shane Jackson, the third base umpire, with the home crew, Chad Steers, on the review there.
I think it's the 2 umpires that are closest to the review camera, which I think it should be the 2 umpires that are not involved in the play. That's maybe my unpopular opinion.
You know, I never thought of that.
Yeah, because in Tallahassee, I get to see the other side, and a lot of the time it's the first base umpire who's involved in the play and call in question that gets to go do the review.
Huh.
Learn something new every day, huh?
Man, I know. So did not think of that.
I learned a lot in the last couple of weeks of not seeing you.
I'm not sure that bodes well for me. Coco Hymas swings and misses. The count is 1-1. That's going to be ruled an error. Do you agree with that as a call, being an error?
I do, because she would have been out if the throw was good.
So is it on the throw or on Godwin?
I think it's on the throw.
Okay. We'll see what they officially rule. Here's a butt by Hymas. Fielded quickly by Edwards, who makes the play. Hymas is retired. Simon gets to second with 2 outs here in the 3rd.
Back to the top of the order for
That'll be that to the top of the order, and the significance there is it gets Humphreys to the plate with a runner in scoring position. The leading hitter for the Knights. So now Humphreys, who struck out back in the first, against Balin. Takes a strike, it's 0-1 the count. It is officially an error on Godwin. Oh, and the first baseman, two-time All-American, disagrees.
I mean, I'm just saying.
You are a first baseman, for the record. 0-1. Swing and a miss. Malin ahead 0-2 at Humphreys. Humphreys down in the count 0-2 here with Simon at second. 2 outs here in the third in a scoreless ball game. The 0-2. High, ball 1, 1-2 the count. You did a great job in the studio on Tuesday night there on ACC Network with Taylor Tannenbaum.
Thank you, Eric.
Is that where you learned a lot there up there in the studio?
I do learn a lot when I'm up there.
Okay.
I mean, you better keep up or else you get left behind.
1-2 the count. That's outside. 2-2 the count to Humphreys. Now you got to be part of that Clemson beating South Carolina on a walk-off homer. Of course, UCF beat Clemson in Clearwater. That's one of the marquee resume wins UCF has through the first 3 innings.
Yeah, she looks good. She's kind of dialed in here and going up and down and hitting her spots, throwing a lot of first pitch strikes, and she's had a couple easier innings than what she's had in the last couple weeks. So we need to keep that stuff up.
Coach, your hitters are doing a good job getting on base early in the innings. What do you want to see adjustment-wise from the people that are coming after them?
Well, first off, I think I need you up there. That would help. But we just got to do a better job with runners on base. That's been our thing most of our year, is just kind of coming through there and just have some fun, play like you're 8, in your backyard, play some wiffle ball here. And I think if we can do that, we can scratch some runs across. And we're a team that if we can get 1, we can usually get 4 or 5. So we just got to go here.
All right, Coach, appreciate you.
Thanks, guys.
That's Kenny Gajewski talking to us. And meanwhile, we got a new pitcher for the Knights, Alex. And Jasenia Lopez, the true freshman, coming in relief here for Vega, who goes the first 3 innings in this game.
I like this move by Coach Ball Malone. Just talk about exposure. Good opportunity here for kind of a tag team between Lopez and Vega. Both so young in their career, great exposure in a game like this. But let's see who's going to get the job done, because it felt like, again, you had Oklahoma State applying the pressure early in innings, but not coming through with the big hit. So let's see if Lopez can keep that momentum going.
First pitch outside, ball 1 to Michaela Work. Will be followed by Tia Warsop. Megan Delgadillo, 6-7-8 for the Cowgirls against Lopez and the Knights. They're in the 4th. Another pretty much close to a sellout once again here at the Plex. Float outside, ball 2-0. Going inside, I should say, 2-0 to count. So Lopez getting the start. What do you expect to see from her here, given a different look?
Well, it's kind of similar to Vega with what she's able to mix really up and down in the zone well. Also going to try to mix in that changeup. I will say Vega has, I think, more control of the changeup at this point in her career, but I know that that Lopez has been working really hard on establishing that pitch too, because she's going to come in and throw a little bit harder as well, going to live in that 68, 69 range. So having something, even just a few mile-an-hour difference, could be really helpful.
3 balls, no strikes. Lopez delivers high, ball 4. And a 4-pitch walk to Michaela Work here to start the top of the 4th inning. Of course, that's rare for Lopez, who has a 3.89 strikeout to walk ratio, which is 43rd best in the country. Gonna have a pinch runner. And Macy Graff will pinch run here for Oklahoma State here in the 4th inning. So the wheels are starting to get in motion for both sides after maybe both teams feeling each other out here in the first few innings. Warsop at the plate against Lopez. Tries to bunt and gets it down. Humphreys will throw to first in time. As Warsop gets the sacrifice bunt. One out, runner now at second. Bring up Megan Delgadillo now at the plate with work at, the pinch runner. Macy Graff now at second base.
Coach Gajewski talks about the situational hitting is going to be crucial. So let's see if the bottom part of this order, this is where the depth comes in. So important in games like this late in the season. Got to have a really solid 1 through 9, 1 through 11 sometimes helps. But everybody in the lineup's got to be able to get something going, get that momentum on their side.
1-0. Right now, Lopez trying to find that strike zone from Chad Steers. Down in the count to Delgadillo. Hitting in the 8th spot here tonight. 2-0. That's missed outside, 3-0. Knight's bullpen is up. Get the feeling this could be won by committee tonight.
And you got to think too, the rest of the weekend could be really close games as well.
Yeah.
So really just trying to preserve all arms possible.
That's a ball for to walk. And it's 2 on, 1 out here in the top of the 4th inning. So a couple of walks with a sacrifice bunt in the middle of it. And Bloodworth will now come to the plate.
Next up, number 55, Megan Bloodworth.
That's the 5th free pass too
Yeah.
from this UCF pitching staff. So really trying to hone it in, attack the zone a little bit better.
First pitch, a strike, gets 0-1 to count. Yeah, that's been uncharacteristic for this Knights staff, who ranks in the top 50 in strikeouts to walk ratio.
Two biggest keys here. The two things your defense can't defend are walks and home runs, right, Eric? So just trying to keep the ball a little bit off the plate, but around the zone, keep it in the park and let your defense work.
There's a strike, and the count is 0-2 to Bloodworth. Knights come into this game with as a staff with a 2.64 ERA, 26th best in the country. Lopez trying to settle in here, ahead 0-2. Bloodworth lays off that pitch, 1-2. Such a young UCF staff. Lopez, a true freshman, Vega, redshirt freshman. There's a swing and a miss, and Lopez gets a strikeout of Bloodworth for the 2nd out here in the 4th.
Great job by Yesenia Lopez, just attacking the zone here, getting the big swing on that pitch, just continues to elevate the closer it gets to Beth Damon. That's a big pitch, great spot.
So 2 gone, back to the top of the order, and Talon Edwards takes ball 1 outside. Edwards has walked back in the 1st and then singled in her last at bat. Hits here with 2 on, 2 out here in the 4th. That's a strike, 1-1 to count to the junior from Oklahoma, Talon Edwards. Her dad, of course, played baseball. Her mom played softball at Oklahoma Baptist. Her brother played baseball at Murray State. Her sister, of course, Trinity, played softball at Michigan. Bottom of the 4th, Eric Lopez alongside Alex Powers, and joining us now is UCF head coach Cindy Ball Malone. And coach, you make the pitching change, you bring in Lopez, who does a fantastic job working around the 2 walks there. Just take us through that and what you're seeing from the your 2 freshmen.
Yeah, I mean, we're just keeping the other team off balance. We've got great pitchers, and we're going to use them, so we're really excited for that.
Coach, Ruby Malin's throwing a pretty good game so far. What do you want to see from your hitters?
I think we can be a little bit more gritty. She's tough. She goes up and down, and she throws really hard, and it feels like it's like on you. But I think we should need to be a little bit more gritty, slow it down, and pick our pitch a little bit better.
All right, Coach, thanks for joining us.
All right, thank you.
That's head coach Cindy Ball Malone here in the bottom of the 4th. No runs, 2 hits, 1 error for Oklahoma State. No runs, no hits, no errors for UCF. And what we pretty much expected, Alex, a pitcher's duel between these two, Ruby Malin and, of course, Isabella Vega, now Ksenia Lopez.
And I think that's what we're going to see all weekend long, Eric, is these pitchers getting as many innings as possible. UCF potentially having a little bit deeper of a staff in the circle. So let's see how it kind of plays out the next couple of days.
Ray grounds out to second. There's the plays made by Rosie Davis. One pitch, one out here in the bottom of the fourth.
But I think too, Eric, one of the things that Coach Paul Malone talks about is picking a pitch and sticking to her plan, because when we try to hit everything that Ruby Malin's throwing, all the pitches, all the zones, it's really hard as a hitter. You've got to be really talented physically to be able to do that. Not all of us are blessed with that kind of skill. So let's just commit to a plan, see something that we can drive and sell out.
Evans takes high, ball one. 1-1 the count to Aubrey Evans, the junior from Apopka. Struck out back in the first inning against Malin. That's 5 strikeouts, no walks, no hits allowed for Malin so far through the first 3 in the third. Evans grounds one deep to hold a short. Bloodworth is there, throw to first in time, and Evans is retired. 2 up, 2 down here in the fourth inning. Gotta bring up Izzy Mertez to the plate.
Next up for your night, number 28, Izzy Mertez.
Mertez will come to the plate. Pitch from Izzy is Izzy's a strike. 0-1 count. First, you mentioned Oklahoma State. Riley Crandall is on their staff, coming back from injury. Got the win on Tuesday night against Wichita State. Katie Kutz been also splitting time with Crandall here over the last couple of weeks. Figures you might see those two perhaps tomorrow night. Whereas UCF, to your point, still got Caitlin Felton available, among others. It's the 1-1. Fouled off to Mertez, 1-2 the count.
Well, that's the difference too. If you split game one like they're doing so far between Lopez and Vega, you've got potentially both able to come back and throw tomorrow. Worst case scenario for UCF, or best case scenario, who knows, however Coach Paul Malone wants to draw it up.
Keeping them off balance, as she said. Right now, she's trying some offense against Malin. And that's grounded to second, right to Davis. We'll throw to first. An easy 1-2-3 inning for Malin and the Cowgirls score. Game one of this 3-game series between the Knights and the Cowgirls. Game 2 tomorrow, 7 o'clock Eastern, for now on ESPNU, as well as on the ESPN app. And Saturday, the series wraps up with a noon Eastern here on ESPN+. Rosie Davis will lead it off, followed by Amanda Hasler and Carly Godwin. 2-3-4. Takes ball one. It's a big weekend in the Big 12. Mentioned this matchup, another marquee matchup taking place in Tucson this week, with Arizona hosting Texas Tech. Nyjah Kennedy going up against that Arizona offense, led by Devin Netz, a great two-way player. That is a monster series. You've got a series between Iowa State, Kansas up in Ames. Iowa State trying to play themselves into the bubble, Alex. They've been a different team since we saw him here in Orlando, I should say, a few weeks ago.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. They've been taking some big series from some really great teams, but they're just playing really good softball.
Big weekend here and then a big weekend over at baseball. UCF, TCU ranked in the top 25. Kirk Sarlo's in the Horned Frogs against the Knights in a monster series. TCU among the top of the standings in the Big 12 in baseball. So this is as good fun as it gets if you're a baseball softball fan. TCU over in baseball in town, and here Oklahoma State. 2-2 the count to Rosie Davis. Strike three looking. Lopez with the strikeout. One gone here in the fifth.
This is a great pitch by Lopez, just working that inside corner there, just going to freeze these hitters. The inside corner proving to be difficult tonight on both sides of the field. Great pitch, great spot.
That'll bring up Amanda Hasler.
Next up, number 3, Amanda Hasler.
See Lopez there, top 10 in the Big 12 in strikeouts looking for a pitcher. Pretty impressive. Hasler Wings it, hits it to right foul. What's so exciting about this, Alex? You got Lopez, a true freshman. You've got Vega, a redshirt freshman. You got Malin's just a junior. I mentioned Nyjah Kennedy, she's just a junior. All these talented pitchers in the Big 12 will be back next year.
The pitching is on a whole different level, which I felt like for a few years the hitters were just so good, but now the pitching kind of evening out, especially too with the different approaches taken, whether it's the pitch by committee concept and the full staff type of deal here, or even I've learned of some new things recently, like some soft opens, and there's just different concepts that are getting integrated into softball.
It's a strike, 1 and 2 to count. I need to start traveling with you more. I mean,
You learn great stuff. The more questions you ask and the less you talk, the more you can just sit there and listen.
right,
The smarter you get.
just sneak me into your luggage. 1-2 count. Swing and a miss. Hassler goes down on strike. Strikeout, back-to-back Ks for the young freshman Lopez. 2 gone.
Big pitches by Yesenia Lopez here, just going to work the zone, and this is where she can keep control of these pitches and locate them this accurately. She's going to be phenomenal throughout her career, but let alone tonight. Good stuff.
Now Godwin to the plate. She hits here with no one on, 2 out. It's a strike. Really, this year, this league is very young. UCF's very young. Even Oklahoma State, even though they have a lot of returners from last year, a lot of sophomores on this roster. The league is stacked even this year, but it's going to be even better next year. Future's bright for the league. Future's bright for both of these programs. But they're thinking about the present, both trying to move up the Big 12 standings. Remember, the top 5 teams in the standings of the Big 12 get a bye in the opening round, so they don't have to play that Wednesday night opening round game. They would play on Thursday in the quarters. The 1-1. It's missed 2-1 to count. Of course, Oklahoma State trying to enhance their hosting possibilities. They're currently the 16th host, according to D1 softball projections in this week's bracketology. 18 RPI. With the 4th toughest non-conference schedule in the country, Oklahoma State. UCF has the 8th toughest schedule in non-conference in the country. These two coaches do not shy away from playing people.
I think that's why, too, they start to develop these high expectations, because they know the challenges that they're putting in front of their teams, and so they want to see them continue, because they're just chilly girls and boys. Isn't that cute?
I'll take your word for that. Everything you said was accurate. especially me not as in-depth on the dog knowledge as you are. Beth Damon at the plate takes ball 1. Takes ball 2. No runs, 2 hits, 1 error for Oklahoma State. No runs, no hits, no errors for UCF. Still looking for their first hit here. The bottom of the 5th with Damon to lead it off. It's the Ruby Malin. 2. Damon lines it foul. The count is 2-1. It's beautiful Thursday evening. So 2 balls and a strike. Malin's been ahead of the hitters a lot of the night. This is a rare 3-ball count from Ruby Malin tonight.
Good hitting teams can make adjustments throughout the ball game, even against really great pitchers like we've seen here so far with Ruby Malin, but you got to keep fighting, got to keep chipping away, because it's only going to take 1 pitch.
That is a late strike call by Chad Steers. Damon has to pick up the bat. It's 3-2.
Talk about the late strike call, but I just think even the quality of the strike call too, that's not a strike.
And that one is a swing and a miss, foul tip strikeout for Malin for the first out here in the 5th inning. 6th of the night for Malin.
A great comeback here for Ruby Malin, just going to take full advantage. And look at how fired up she gets. She is just that passionate type of pitcher. And one of the things that Coach Gajewski said was, in one of her more recent games, she came in the dugout after throwing a couple of innings, and she's like, "Coach, I don't feel like I'm fired up enough." He's like, "What do you mean? You're in a really good spot. Stay there." She's like, "Nope, I need the fire. I need the anticipation."
Kotzelnick, who flew out to left in her first at-bat, steps into the plate now. First, Malin helped lead Washington to the 2023 World Series. And that's one of the reasons why she came to Stillwater, because obviously the success the Cowgirls have had getting to Oklahoma City. Wants to get into sports broadcasting, Alex. Wants to be color commentator. A swing and a miss there by Kotzelnick. She told me she got to get close friends with Danielle Laurie while she was at Washington, who obviously broadcast on ESPN. Of course, got to know Michelle Smith, Oklahoma State great. That is her next path, her post-playing career. In fact, Oklahoma State, they got Rachel Becker, who does their games there on ESPN+. Lexi Kilfoyle, who's on their staff, has done some select road games on the radio side for them. 1-1.
I feel like it's a good side to be on.
Yeah. People following their students there. Of course, Kilfoyle working on with the bullpen tonight. The reigning Big 12 pitcher of the year last year for Oklahoma State. Of course, UCF with Shannon Sale, their full-time assistant, former Oklahoma Sooner great. Kotzelnick grounds it to the right side. Davis has been busy tonight, throws to first in time, and that's a vintage ground ball out for Ruby Malin, who is among the best in inducing ground ball outs.
It's that drop ball. It's just money out of the hand of Ruby Malin, and nobody really making an adjustment yet on sending something that's left a little bit up in the zone that they can drive in the gap somewhere. So a lot of ground ball production here so far for UCF.
So 2 gone now for Griffin. Step in. Nice, just reached on an air. That's been it. Trying to get something against Malin. McDonald slices one to left. Ray is there, makes the catch in left field. McDonald is retired for the first out here in the 6th inning. 1 gone. And a reminder, the 2025 Phillips 66 Big 12 Softball and Baseball Championships are coming in May, leading off. On May 7th will be the Softball Championships as they unveil a new single elimination format with all the games played in OKC's OGE Field at Devon Park, the home of the College World Series. And on May 21st, the Baseball Championships return to Globe Field, also with a new single elimination format plus more teams. All games will air and be simulcast on Big 12 on ESPN+. Select games will be broadcast on the ESPN family of networks, including of the 14 make it in baseball. I cannot wait to be there for the 2nd year in a row, Alex, down there for the championships. Both of these teams hoping that they don't have to play until Thursday. 1-1. That's missed there. It's 2-1. So look at 2 balls and a strike to count here. To Michaela Work. 2-1. Missed there, 3-1 now. As Works ahead of Lopez, 3-1. Here in the top of the 6th inning. Look at the standings. Again, the top 5 get a bye into the quarterfinals. See Oak State, UCF currently 7 and 8. It's a strike and it's full, 3-2. So every game magnified from this point on as you look at the standings. Look at Texas Tech and Arizona, of course, playing each other this week. And Arizona State hosting Baylor, who currently has that 6th spot. BYU is in the 5 spot. That ball is hit to left, but Ray is there. And she makes the catch. And that is the 2nd out of the inning. As Work is retired. There's Ray, who looks comfortable out there in left field. Made some great plays last week at Provo. So you got it's ramifications with the standings, resumes in the NCAA tournament, hosting possibilities.
There's a lot at stake, and that's what makes this time of the season so fun. It's also why every game is so important throughout the season, because typically it does boil down to just a matter of inches. Everybody's so close in the race. I think one of the best things that I ever learned as a player in college was the game doesn't know. It doesn't know who the best team on paper coming into the season is. All it knows is who goes out there every day and plays the best softball, walking away with more wins than losses.
0-1 the count to Warsaw. Now, you may have noticed Oklahoma State's 2 games short in the Big 12 standing. That is because they lost 2 games in a series against Houston due to the unfortunate wildfires that took place in Stillwater and in that area during that weekend. Those games will not be made up, so win percentage will play a factor in the seeding for the Big 12, which is currently the number 3 conference in the country according to the RPI, only trailing the SEC and the ACC. Both of these teams, if they kind of take care of business here down the stretch, will be easily in the tournament, just like Lopez took care of business there and took...
Ruby Malin throwing that's really effective, and so far today it's pitches kind of out of the zone that UCF is taking some big swings on, and it's the drop ball that stays down that they're hitting as ground balls. It's a rise ball that's out of the zone that they're also getting swings and misses on. And so again, it's kind of their lack of commitment to a specific pitch, because off of somebody like Malin, you can't hit everything.
She's ahead of Simon here, 1 ball, 2 strikes. One and 2 the count. And Simon fouls it off. Stays alive, and right now you're just trying to get on base is the challenge for both of these teams. Oklahoma State's had more runners on base. They've left 7 on base. UCF just left the 1 runner on. 1-2. Strike 3 looking as Malin locked in there, gets her 7th strikeout of the night, 1 gone.
That's just a tough pitch, something off the plate, out of the zone. Just gonna freeze Maddie Simon. Great pitch by Malin, but again, one that right out of the hand, I don't know that it necessarily registers that, hey, I gotta take a hack at this, but too close for comfort.
First pitch to Jaimes, line foul, and it's 0-1. Especially when it's late, right? You gotta know that strike zone. The young freshman Jaimes and a sacrifice bunt. We got Warsop, by the way, in right field in the ball game. And then you've got Rachel Hathoon, grad student from Albuquerque, New Mexico. She is in the game in left field for Lexi McDonald. 1-1. And a hold a swing there. They will appeal. No swing, and the count is 2-1 to Jaimes. So Coco Jaimes here with a 2-1 count. Here at the bottom of the 6th. The 2-1. Jaimes chopped to short. Bloodworth to first to retire Jaimes. 2 gone here in the 6th. And that'll bring up Sierra Humphreys. Will hit here with no one on, 2 outs in the 6th.
All right, fans, we're back to the top of the order for your next. Number 8, CC Humphreys.
CC's 0 for 2, has struck out twice here against Malin. First pitch from Ruby. A bunt attempt by Humphreys. It's a fair ball. Throw to first, not in time. Humphreys will get on with a 2-out single, bunt single, and the Knights get their first hit of the ball game. So Humphreys read the defense and went for the bat bunt drag hit.
A great job by Sierra Humphreys, and this is why she's so good in the top of the order, because she's just crafty and she's got good enough hand-eye coordination to be able to lay down a sneaky bunt. She can drive the ball in the gap, and she just keeps the defense on their toes.
So now Humphreys, who has 12 stolen bases, is at first base with Samantha Ray at the plate. First pitch outside for a ball. And right now, Sierra Humphreys at first base talking to assistant coach Stacy Pestrak, who of course is in her first year in the UCF assistant, former Florida Gator, but formerly of Oklahoma State. Humphreys bluffs going. That's a strike. Count is 1-1. There she is, Stacy Pestrak, who joined Kenny Gajewski, has known Kenny Gajewski since they were assistants at Florida under Tim Walton. They won the national title in 2015, and when Gajewski was hired at Oklahoma State, he took her with him to Stillwater and was part of this incredible run in the 9 seasons. As Kenny said, a lot of the success was in part due to Stacy Pestrak. He even mentioned that probably not many people know him as well inside out as Stacy does. 1-2. Strike 3 looking. Malin gets
Second base, but kind of comes up on you quick when you got the run and the speed down the line. Again, everything just feels really fast, trying to slow ourselves down. That's a big error.
Now the umpires are going to discuss this. Not sure if they're discussing whether she was out of the box, whether there was any interference of sorts. But the crew is getting together and they're going to have a review here. Let's see if she's out of the box here, Alex.
This is a big call as well, and doesn't look like she's out of the box right there. If that's the question, I mean, I can understand why. Just this late in the ball game, not a whole lot going on.
Big play by Delgadillo to get that bunt down. Humphreys made the charge there, and again, if the ball is caught, it's an out. That's where Megan's speed comes into handy there. It's going to be a quick review if it's about the box. Let's take another look. Right there. Doesn't look like it.
Doesn't look like there's a whole lot going on. Again, I can understand why, but
in case if any part of that foot is out of the box, it would be considered an out, but they just quickly reviewed. I think this will stand. Yeah, runner is safe there, so the call stands. Oh, that was Shane Jackson, the third base there with making the Chad Steers on the umpire. Now you got me all like thinking about that.
Hey, and where was the call in question at the plate? So maybe that's why.
I just wondered if they just have him involved because like the review monitor is right near him. Anyway, that's just me. Here's a butt attempt that will go. Was it foul or fair? Oh boy, that was close. Griffin picked it up just as it went foul on the bunt attempt by Bloodworth. Edwards put her hand in the helmet, and it's a strike. It's 0-1. Kenny discussing it with the umpire. Let's see.
And this is a big one right here, the bunt attempt by Bloodworth, and then you've got Ashley Griffin. I mean, that's really close, but that's why the play on the field or the call on the field is so important, because you can't overturn it if it's called foul. You can't go back and call it fair. You can always do the opposite.
Let's see, did she go on that bunt attempt by Bloodworth? Clearly that's big, because obviously they're trying to get Delgadillo over to third base with less than 2 outs. Did you see anything there Griffin should have done differently at first, or you've done the same?
It's tough, because if you let it go further, you run the risk of it staying fair. Right. The only other thing is if you can field it just quicker.
Well, she bunts their foul, so now the count is 1-2 to Bloodworth. Right, you almost have to get the ball, whether it's fair or foul. It's probably it's irrelevant, because if you let it go and it's fair, it's a hit.
Exactly.
1-2. Bloodworth hits a fly ball to right. Kotzelneck comes in, makes the catch. Tagging third to third is not in time, as Delgadillo just gets in there. So it's a sacrifice fly by Bloodworth, who gets the job done with a productive out to get the runner at third with 1 out.
That's a great piece of situational hitting for Bloodworth, who falls behind in the count, but you couldn't ask for a better throw. Woo. Stormy Kotzelnick out in right field on that play. Bang, bang play at third base. That was a good one.
Well, and Megan stayed over at, kept the hand at third base all the time. Otherwise, she would have been tagged out. It was a good throw by Kotzelnick, but she kept her hand on the bag. Otherwise, if that hand comes off the bag, it's an out. As it is, it's runner third, one out for Talon Edwards. Runner at third and one out. One out, missed there, and throw to third, nothing doing there, and it's 2-0 the count to Edwards. And we have a, what do we got, loose ball on the field? Yeah, we got a loose ball.
Gotta keep your head on the swivel around here. Things happening all over the place.
What's the approach here if you're Edwards?
Oof. Right now, just see something up somewhat over the middle of the plate. Doesn't matter where, as long as I can get my barrel extended. I just need something in the air deep enough for a sac fly.
That's outside. Knight's playing in defensively. Behind now the count of Edwards, 3-0.
This as a left-handed hitter, I always thought was a little bit more fun because you can just kind of yank something with you.
It's a ball 4 and a walk. I don't know if that was an intentional walk or just a random walk, but nonetheless, it's first and third and one out.
Next up, number 76, Rosie Davis.
So first and third with Rosie Davis at the plate. Two on, one out. All of this started with an error and a walk. Sac fly in between. That is blooped, and that will drop for a hit. That will score Delgadillo. An RBI single by Rosie Davis, and Oklahoma State takes a 1-0 lead. A bloop single by Davis, and it's a 1-0 Cowgirl lead.
Good job by Rosie Davis, just hitting this right there up the middle, hitting it where they're not. Shallow center field, getting the job done. The timeliness of that at bat is what Oklahoma State has been missing all night long. It's like they were getting people on, just couldn't do a job after that. So good job by the top of the order with some production. But it all started with Megan Delgadillo making something happen with a short game, forcing that error.
44th RBI of the year for Davis, leads the team.
It's the errors and the free passes.
Well, the error, and
Concha.
what was big about the error, remember, the throw, not only because it didn't get the runner out, but it allowed Delgadillo to go to second. That's fouled off by Hasler. Excuse me there, as the count is 0-2. Excuse me, it's the pinch hitter, Schneidmiller, the Audrey Schneidmiller, the catcher, pinch hitting here for Hasler. Likely will come in the bottom of the seventh to catch. He's a defensive catcher, great defensive catcher. She fouls it off, but advancing to second on the throw, and then credit deserved to Bloodworth, who got that fly out to right to advance her to third. That's how you manufacture a run. So it's 1-0 Oklahoma State, 2 on, still 1 out. And Audrey at the plate against Lopez. That's foul back. The redshirt junior out of Burleson, Texas. Game of inches. And if you're Lopez, you're frustrated because you don't feel like you've pitched bad at all here. Like an error, and then that was a bloop single. In no man's land. 0-2. Outside for a ball.
Hasn't pitched bad by any extent, but also you just got to start to look back at the things that you can control in the free passes even earlier in the game to get these hitters up in the situations, because we're at 5-6 now going, actually might be 6 or 7 now after the error and the walk this inning. And if you take care of business on those, it doesn't happen.
That ball's hit the deep left field. That ball is gone. See ya. 3-run homer, and the Cowgirls extend the lead to 4-0 on a 3-run homer by Audrey Schneidmiller to give them a lead of 4-0.
Talk about pinch hit clutchness. Schneidmiller does a great job just getting her hands around that pitch, looking at all the way down the line. Stays fair. That's a great piece of hitting. Talk about timely, Eric. That was the biggest swing of the day so far.
Huge, because it gives them a cushion of 4 runs. It's Godwin with a plate, takes ball 1. What did Kenny Gajewski tell us in the in-game interview, Alex? Usually when they scratch out a run, a few extra runs come after that.
Yeah, hitting is contagious, and the momentum right now on the side of Oklahoma State. See how many more they can tack on.
1-0. It's in there, strike, 1-1. That's big because now the Knights have a 4-run deficit to work with in the bottom of the 7th versus 1 run. Big difference. Schneidmiller with a 3-run homer to left. It's 4-0 Oklahoma State. Count is 2-1 now. Lopez got to regroup. Pitched well. Certainly the air stings, and then the bloop hit. The walk, and you mentioned it. Can't give teams like Oklahoma State extra outs. That's a base hit. Godwin with a single. She gets on here with 1 out. And as you mentioned it, why is that? Why is hitting so? What is it about the contagion of hitter? One hitter starts hitting, next thing you know, everybody's hitting.
I think it's a matter of pressure and just kind of alleviating the pressure from one another and just saying, okay, it's not all on me, as you take another look there at Godwin, and good job driving it right back up the middle. I think a lot of performance as an athlete has so much to do with the pressure that we're putting on ourselves out there, and pressure to perform makes everything get a little bit tighter, a little bit smaller, and just tougher.
We got a pinch hitter now. They got Hathoot now to hit. Remember, she came in defensively about an inning ago. She will hit. Got the pinch runner coming in here for Godwin. So moves being made everywhere. We got Hathoot here to hit. First pitch is a ball. 1-0 the count. So Hathoot here at the plate. Transfer out of New Mexico, was a 2-time first-team Mountain West performer. And that one gets into the backstop, and that'll get a runner over to second. By the way, that run scored by Delgadillo on the sac fly is her 200th of her career. Reaches that mark. Sophie Page, the pinch runner now at second base, who advanced on that wild pitch. 2-0 is in there for a strike, and it's 2-1. So the count is 2-1. The 2-1 pitch. It's high, 3-1. So 3 balls and a strike to Hathoot. Takes a strike, and it's 3-2.
I kind of like that Coach Bob Malone is leaving Lopez out there to figure it out and try to finish this game. For UCF, working through the adversity, working through the difficulty right now to close this out.
That's ball 4 to walk. And now first and third as Sophie Page takes third base. Well, there's a couple thoughts on that, right? She's got to learn to finish in situations like this. Plus, you want to save arms. You still got a long series to go. You got a game tomorrow night. You got game 3 on Saturday. You want to preserve all your arms here for the next 2 games.
Trying to stay mindful as much as possible.
But Coach Bob Malone has seen that looks like enough here, and it's going to go to the bullpen. Lopez's night is done. As the Knights are going to the bullpen for a pitching change. We'll tell you about the new
put up and stringing a couple of good at-bats together. He's proven to be the difference maker here, putting on a 4 spot.
picked up her first career win a couple of weeks ago on that Sunday win against Baylor in Waco. And she comes in. So does Taylor Kittleman, who comes in the outfield to take over in right field. So Kittleman at right, with first and third and one out here in the seventh. Kittleman in for Kapselnik. Kittleman comes in. Kayla Work at the plate. It's 0 for 2 tonight. First pitch from Macy Miles. Michaela Work. That's high. They will throw to second, but it's cut off by Aubrey. And it's now second and third with one out. It's Hatt who took second base. Now, of course, there's a connection here. It's with Miles pitching against Oklahoma State. Her father is Les Miles, legendary head coach. Les Miles is a former Oklahoma State head coach. Coached from 2001 to 2004 before going to LSU. That's a strike, and it's 1-1. Had great success at Oklahoma State, beating Oklahoma in those years, but then got the LSU job, would go on to win the national title in 2007. So here you are, almost over 20 years later, a Miles going against Oklahoma State. 1-1. Low, ball 2. It's all connected. 2-1 to count.
It's always all connected.
Somewhere there, my friend Philip Slavin, his head spinning over the ties there. He's a big Oklahoma State fan, host of the 10-12 softball podcast. That ball hits up on the off-speed. Work took that one. That's not, those are ones that hitters don't mind, that changeup there. And so their bases are loaded here with one out. That'll bring up now another opportunity to play here with bases loaded and one out. It looks like another pinch hitter coming up for the Cowgirls here. Claire Tim, the pinch hitter, and Coach Paul Malone's going to come out here as well. Bullpen still up for the night, so we'll see if there's another moves here. Both teams now making moves. I wonder if Jenny Carlson, the great sports writer up there in Oklahoma, I wonder if she covered Les Miles at any point. And I think that is going to be, looks like a pitching change. Going maybe matchups there. Maybe Coach Paul didn't like something there on the pitch or something, but yeah, there'll be a pitching change. So that'll be it for Miles. We'll tell you about the new Knights pitcher. Here in the seventh. Oklahoma State still fourth. Out. Trying to get out of a jam here to face Claire Tim. She's a junior from California, an all-region performer a year ago. Will pinch hit here, part of this deep Oklahoma State outfield with Tim. And I think it's real simple. If you're Cochran here, you're just trying to throw some strikes, right?
It's as simple as that. Go out there and pound the zone.
Come in here against Tim. Look at her numbers. Coming in here with bases loaded and one out. 4 runs in the inning for the Cowgirls. Looking for more to try to break it open. First pitch, a strike, and it's 0-1 to count to Claire Tim. Sarah Vanderwater, pinch running at first base. Vanderwater, and 0-1. Missed there for a ball. 1-1. So Vanderwater over at first base. Bases loaded with a 1-1 count. And that is sliced into left. It'll go foul. Count is 1-2. Ball and 2 strikes. Cochran, the junior, trying to get out of the Knights out of any further damage. One, two. Low, 2-2. So 2 balls and 2 strikes to count. To Tim hitting 200 on the year. 2-2 pitch. Outside, 3-2. Now the Knights just trying to get some outs. Payoff pitch. Hit to second. Jaimes will race to first. They'll get the out. A run will score on the play, and it's 5-0 Oklahoma State as Page comes in to score from third base. Second and third, 2 outs. And again, quality at bat. What's the AP-isms that you have?
Yeah, you can either have a quab or you can have a QPA, and that's both a quality at bat. Good job getting the job done there. Situational opportunity, of course, as a hitter, you always want to get a hit and get on base that way, but if I can get an RBI, I'll take that too.
First pitch, a strike to Delgadillo, who started this inning with that bunt. The throw was not handled. Got to second base, scored, and opened the floodgates. Reached on that air. Big moment. The 0-1. Did you say QPA? I think you have not used that term before.
Yeah, QPA.
That is what you learned?
Well, no, I've known that one, but normally you can just say quab, which is a QAB, quality at bat.
Okay.
Or QPA, quality plate appearance. You know, just switching it up a little bit.
Hey, changing up the mix. I got the lingo. I got you.
You got to keep it fresh.
1-1 to count. That's a strike, 1-2. I know we haven't been together in a while, but I didn't think I'd forgotten that much.
Yeah.
1-2 the count. Cochran trying to get out of the jam here. Keep it up now, a 5-run game. Knights will have a lot of work to do in the bottom half of the inning. That's a high chopper to Evans. Gonna have a tough play. Bobbled it, couldn't get a throw out. And that's gonna get 2 runs in as the runners were going on contact. And it's 7-0 Oklahoma State as they get 2 runs on the play. And once again, it's Megan Delgadillo causing some havoc.
Good things happen when you can hit the ball hard on the ground, and Delgadillo doing a good job hitting that one. Aubrey Evans tries to make the jump up to grab it a little bit over her head there on the bounce, but can't come up with it. A couple more runs coming across. Given that there's 2 outs, you're running on the hit.
Hathood and Vanderwater right behind her coming in to score, and it's 7-0. Kind of believable. It's a scoreless game going into this inning. Bloodworth at the plate. The 0-1. That's a ball. Throw to second is not in time as Delgadillo with the stolen base. She now moves into the top 10 in single season stolen bases in Cowgirl softball history with her 23rd steal of the year. It's good company there. 50 years of Oklahoma State softball. 1-1. Fouled off, but 2 UCF errors in this inning, Alex, that has helped open the floodgates. Will be certainly part of the narrative in this one. What was a pitcher's duel through the first 6 innings. One-two from Cochran. That's high. 2-2. 2 balls and 2 strikes. The count. That's outside for a ball. 3-2 the count. On what has been a long top of the 7th. Literally, time-wise, I think we're over 20 minutes. Payoff pitch. That's popped into left field, going foul. Ray chasing it. Can't come up with it. She runs out of range there, gets knocked down. Gets up. Probably frustrated she couldn't come up with that one. And what has been a frustrating 7th inning for the Knights. Just wild. When things are either bouncing your way, it kind of magnifies, and when things aren't going your way, it magnifies.
Sometimes you're going really good, sometimes you're going really bad. Just gotta figure it out, keep working.
Payoff pitch. It's fouled off again. Four hits in the inning. 7 runs, 2 errors. The 3-2 pitch. Jammed, grounder to second. Jaimes is there. 8 strikeouts, no walks so far tonight. Delivers a first pitch strike, and it's 0-1 to count. Malin 3 outs away from her 16th win of the year. 0-1 to Evans, who'll be scheduled to be followed by Mertez and Damon. The Knights just going to try to get some base runners, but that's been a problem against Malin all night. 0-2 the count. Elsewhere in the Big 12, Iowa State keeps on winning. They beat Kansas 4-2. They hit a grand slam in that game. They win it. They got 10 conference wins, the most ever in program history in the Big 12 for Iowa State. What a story that has been. Texas Tech off to a 1-0 lead early against Arizona in the first inning. Utah, BYU in Provo. Baylor, Arizona State in Tempe later tonight. Watch it on ESPN Plus after we're done. Malin here ahead 0-2 of Aubrey Evans. That's high for a ball. And just as I say that, Arizona has struck for 2 runs in the bottom of the first on a Devin Netz 2-run homer. 2-run homer by Devin Netz, giving Arizona an early 2-1 lead. That's fouled off. And if you're wondering, yes, that was Devin Netz with a 2-run homer off Nyjah Kennedy.
Good stuff.
First of a 3-game series there. Big weekend in the Big 12. Of course, I believe one of the games in that series, I believe the Saturday game will be on ESPN2. Danielle Laurie, we reference, will be on the broadcast for that one. This game, game 2 tomorrow night, will be on ESPNU. Aubrey Evans fouls it off. At least that's the schedule for now. There's it, 7 o'clock Eastern. Make a note of that, 7 Eastern. Alex Loeb and Kat Osterman will be on the broadcast. They'll be in this booth. Whether Kat's sitting in Alex's chair or my chair will be the big question. I'll give you the answer on Saturday when you and I return for the final game of this series at noon. 1-2. Strike 3 looking as Evans goes down on strikes, and this has been Ruby Malin's night.
Ruby Malin rocking and rolling here, just keeps it going. Man, when you're hot, and that one continues to look good.
9 Ks for Ruby. Mertez coming to the plate. At least we know there will be an Alex in this booth. It would be fitting though if Alex Loeb decided to take your chair, then we could just call this the Alex chair.
Yeah, I like that.
All right,
Okay, let's go.
We'll see. Like I said, I'll let you know. I'll be. Mertez takes inside ball 1. All right, let's talk here from a UCF perspective. Played really well for the first 6 innings. Right there, things kind of unraveled in the 7th inning. What is your approach, not just in this inning, but going into tomorrow if you're Sydney Ball Malone and the Knights?
You have to be okay with how you showed up through 6 innings today. I think 7 is where obviously the wheels kind of fell off here at the end, but it was just the lack of adjustments that were being made, and that more than anything is what Coach Ball Malone is probably saying to her team, or at least thinking to herself right now is, man, we've got to be better in the fight, in the process. And it's not about getting hits, it's not about that kind of stuff, but just our commitment to our plan is where I think they're falling short. But, you know, it's just one of those things. You've got to really trust it. You've got to sell out. And I say sell out because it's a hard skill to learn, is commitment to the process. Because you know what that means, Eric, is taking strikes throughout the game. And that never sounds fun.
Count is 3-1 to Mertez. The 3-1 pitch. Low ball 4. Mertez gets a walk. Third night base runner of the night. Comes via the walk. First walk allowed by Ruby here in the 7th. That'll bring up Beth Damon. Not before. We got a visit from Carrie Eberly, the pitching coach for Oklahoma State, a 2-time All-American in her playing career. Played it, of course, at Oklahoma State. Pitched at Virginia Tech prior to that. Was a pitching coach at Lipscomb before coming back to Oklahoma State to take over for John Barfelt, who retired 2 years ago. This is her 2nd season for Eberly as the pitching coach. John Barfelt, legendary head coach at Tulsa, and then, of course, pitching coach at Oklahoma State.
Good stuff. Good learning moment right there for Malin and the defense behind her. Coach Eberly coming out and having a conversation, just trying to keep things present, again, not make the moment bigger than it is.
Beth Damon at the plate with 1 out. Takes a strike, it's 0-1. Of course, you got Vanessa Shippey, 3-time All-American at Oklahoma State, and the staff. In fact, has her number on the wall up there in Stillwater. He's on this staff, as well as Gray Bergeron in his first season as the assistant here at Oklahoma State after spending 4 seasons at CSUN with Charlotte Morgan on that staff. Of course, longtime baseball coach prior to that. Spent 25 years in college baseball. Part of 2 College World Series appearances with UC Irvine and Cal State Fullerton, working for Dave Serrano. So you got 2 baseball guys on each of the staffs, with Bergeron for Oklahoma State and Noah Sanders for UCF, of course, came over from Arkansas Little Rock. Just the similarities are just wild between these 2 teams and these 2 programs. There's Damon with a count 2-2. Got Shannon Sale, the assistant at UCF, pitched it with Oklahoma, was on the national title team in 21, as Damon rounds it to third. A throw to second, they get the lead out. Edwards making the play there to throw to second. Davis held the foot on the bag. The Cowgirls are an out away from taking game 1 of this 3-game series.
And good job by Edwards on the heads-up play there, getting the leadoff out, but even better job by Davis sticking the bag on a throw like that. A little questionable, but a lot of athleticism up the middle.
So Damon at first for the moment, although she's going to get pinch run for. As the Knights will go to the bench here, with Kylie Strott pinch running. Sophomore from Longwood. She'll bring that run at first base here with Stormy Kotzelnick. Hit that deep ball to left field earlier in the game. You wonder if it was a great catch by Warsaw at the time. Maybe the game's different if that play's not made, but that's the sport for you in a nutshell. Takes the strike, 0-1 the count. The 0-1 pitch. Fouled off, and it's down to the Knights, down to the last strike. First, I mentioned Sale, 2021 national champion at Oklahoma, was on the OU staff in 2022 when Oklahoma State won their first Big 12 championship. beating Oklahoma in the Big 12 title game. A classic. The 0-2. That's a ball, 1-2 the count. First Big 12 championship for Oklahoma State in the era. Part of the success they've had in the Kenny Gajewski era. Had only made one World Series appearance in the previous 10 years before Kenny Gajewski arrived. Malin on the 1-2 gets the strikeout of Stormy Kotsonek to end it. A one-hit shutout for Ruby Malin, 10 strikeouts on the night, and picks up her 16th win as Oklahoma State takes game 1 of this 3-game series by a final score of 7-0. Oklahoma State improves to 26-14 on the year, 7-7 in the Big 12. The Knights drop to 25-19.